All right, welcome back, everybody, to Kino Discussion Episode 3. That's where we're at now.
Yeah,
Uh,
an exciting one.
yeah, exciting to say the least. This episode, we're going to talk about Barry Lyndon, Ex Machina, and I, Robot in that order. So if you have not seen those movies
hmm
from last episode's recommendation, go do that now. Or if you don't care about spoilers, uh, go ahead. Maybe us talking about the
Continue
movie
watching.
will making you want to watch it. I don't know. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
So I guess this one might be a pretty long episode, depending on how much we want to dive into each of these movies. So I guess I'll start out with my
hmm
recommendation. Barry Lyndon, 1975, directed by Stanley Kubrick. I think it's Kubrick's best film. I'm one of those people, and it's the
All right.
story of pretty much an average Joe in, I believe it's like the late 18th century, or like the late
hmm
19th century.
It starts like in the 7 Years' War,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. They're in the 7 Years' War at the start, but
Okay.
yeah, and it is the rise and fall of a man named Redmond Barry, and it just kind of follows his life and all his different escapades from him being like a dumb, stupid, idiot kid all the way to his death. So
Yep.
I wanted to ask you, because I have seen this now 4 times. I wanted to ask what your thoughts
Okay.
were on it on your first watch, because I saw you put a little heart by it on Letterboxd, but you no number review. So I'm curious.
Yeah. I really liked it. The beginning was just kind of I wanted to see like where things went, and the movie just kind of like grabbed me by the nuts and dragged me. It's like a really it's a really good
Yeah,
story. I think like from the beginning he's just a really nice like guy like saving people like no matter the circumstance or like you know
yeah.
if the person is really good to him or not, he just is always saving them. So I was wondering where
The fall
um
was going to
he
happen.
was like where the fall was going to
Yeah,
happen, like where he was going to start going wrong. And so when that started happening, I was like, okay, because I think I always like older movies, but I feel like a majority of them that I watch, like the main character's usually like just a chill
yeah,
guy, can do nothing wrong. So it was cool.
yeah. I really like that take on it, because I've seen a lot of people say, "Oh, he's just evil from the beginning, and he's just like a terrible, awful person." And I'm like, he makes bad decisions, but he's also like young and
Yeah,
stupid, and he's trying to do
yeah.
things, his way and the way that he thinks is okay.
No, yeah. You can like definitely tell how he's been influenced like throughout his whole life, especially with like his
Yeah,
relationships with women. But also, wasn't it that his dad like
yeah.
got
That's the opening of the movie.
killed
His
like in
dad got
a
shot like
yeah.
whenever he was very, very early, or maybe before he was even born. I can't even remember. It was before he was born or when he was
Yeah.
really young. So he didn't have a father
So
figure in
yeah.
his life, and that's another big part of the movie is him meeting all these different father figures later in life and learning from them. Often learning the
Yeah.
wrong lessons in the later half, but he tries.
Yeah,
He tries.
he does.
But yeah, I want to before we get like big into the story and everything, I want to talk about the cinematography, because that's easily my favorite part of this movie, because every
Mhm.
single frame of this movie looks like a painting. And I know people say that all the time about every movie, but this genuinely, I mean, this is my fourth time watching it, and I'm still sitting there sometimes
Mhm.
like, how did they get this shot? How did they get that dog to sit there? How did they get this swan to show up? How did they find this tree with a spot for his armhole so that they can zoom out of it? Like, how did they find all of these crazy just shots? And it looks incredible. It's actually amazing. I
Yeah.
think even if the story in this movie sucked and I didn't care about the characters, I would just be enthralled by the visuals.
You just be staring at the
Yeah,
screen.
I mean, it looks beautiful. It's I believe I want to say it's the first ever movie to use all natural lighting. So there are no like
Mm.
offstage set lights or anything. It's all
I can see
lit
that.
by sunlight or candlelight. And because of
Yeah.
that, I think he had to get like special like NASA lens frames, like direct from NASA, to be able to film in the dark because of how like dark the scenes were and everything. So like this was a
Yeah.
crazy thing to do in a movie. Like this was the first time this technology
I
had
didn't
ever
even know
been
all that.
used. It's I mean, it's really just amazing to just, watch it and just
Mhm.
think about all of that, like, and how much time and planning and effort went into every scene. Just
Mhm.
the shot choreography, not even the writing and the acting, just how the movie looked and the set design. I mean, this movie was made in 1975, but you would think it was literally like
Yeah,
pulled right from,
forever
yeah,
ago.
you would think it was pulled right from the 18th century. It's
Yeah.
amazing. Um, I guess the acting I think is very good all around. Uh,
Yeah, I agree.
I like how the actor kind of looks the same throughout the movie. Like he the movie starts off and he's supposed to be like 16, 17. I'm guessing maybe 18, but he still looks like a
Yeah,
33
he's
year old
younger.
guy. It's like the what's his name? It's like the Tobey
What?
Maguire situation in Spider-Man 1 where it's like he's supposed to be a high schooler but he looks 38. Like he does not look like a high
Yeah.
schooler. But I think in this movie it kind of fits because it's a movie about like what you leave behind, and all we in this fictional world, because Barry Lyndon wasn't a real person, but like I believe in the book the only thing that is known about him is like a picture, like that one picture. So that's like what they base his entire like look off of, which I find very interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Mm.
um,
I don't know much like outside information about the movie. I don't even really know the like what people think about this movie outside of it being Stanley Kubrick or
yeah,
whatever.
it's very
So
divisive.
it was very good,
It's a lot of people like it a
but
lot, and a lot of people think it's boring, which I guess I can see it a little bit. But uh,
yeah, but I feel like every scene like pulls you into his life or like wondering what's
every
gonna
every
happen
scene is
next.
important. I don't think you could cut a single scene from this movie.
Yeah,
But yeah, I guess.
like
Oh, you continue.
I don't know, like I just found myself being like very like caught up in everything that was happening in the movie because it's just so well done. I yeah, yeah, that's all I can say. Like every aspect of his life, like I'm like what is going to happen next with this dude?
Yeah,
Cuz he isn't like particularly in the best spot. And you can't imagine what it'd be like back then to, be robbed of everything and,
that's probably my
you know.
favorite scene in the movie. That because
Mhm.
I mean the movie is pretty dark in the second half, but I think the first half. We'll just move into plot now, so spoilers ahead. Uh, but the first half of the movie is almost like a dark comedy in a way. Like the scene where he
Mhm.
gets robbed is very very funny by like these two
It's
guys,
funny.
and they're like, "Well, we can't let you go because you know who we are. So you just gotta ride on that way. Oh, and we're taking your horse too, so just walk that way." And
Mhm.
there's so many.
Yeah, we got to get transportation or
Yeah,
something.
next town is 5 miles over that way. And then Barry Lyndon he doesn't even fight back. He just starts walking.
I was actually expecting him to fight back, but I understand why he
Yeah.
wouldn't.
Yeah, I guess we can start at the beginning. Barry Lyndon, his dad is dead, either at a very young age or before he's born, and so he lives with his single mother, um, and he's kind of just like an everyman at that point. And then he falls for his cousin, I think, and
Mhm. Yeah, it was
it
his
was his
cousin.
cousin, yeah. And I mean, that's one of those things where it's like of the time, like that was more socially
Yeah. I
acceptable
mean,
back then than it is now. Well, even then, they mentioned in the movie like you can't bury your cousin, Barry. You can't do that.
mm,
But
I excused it. People were doing some crazy stuff back then. I mean,
yeah,
like weren't like 13 and 14-year-olds getting pregnant back then and stuff. Like
yeah, and
it's the time. It's the time, okay?
it's also very weird because they kind of have a relationship thing, and then a new guy comes into town like a prince or something, and he sweeps her off her feet, uh, supposedly, and I think it's one of those things. She's just in it for the money to make it to where
Yeah.
that like their family won't go broke. Because I think it's mentioned that her father's in debt.
Yeah, he's in debt. and their whole like farm that they live on is in debt, I think.
Yes,
And he was gonna bring like 1,500 to their land like a
yeah.
year.
They were gonna be
Because
they were gonna be
what
rolling
he
in
was
it.
just like a high standing, he was a high standing like British officer,
Yeah,
right? That's what he
yeah,
was. And Mr. Lyndon, he's Irish, right? He's
yes,
like
yeah.
immigrated,
At this point,
so
he's
he's not
he's
even
Redmond
British.
Barry. He is not Lyndon yet. That's in the
Yeah,
second half
yeah.
of the film. But yeah. And then he's angry about that. I think not even more so because I mean partially because he wants the woman to be for for him, but I also think because he sees it as oh he's just in it she's just in it for the money. She doesn't really love him like she loves me, but that doesn't
Mhm.
matter because they end up getting married anyway because they need the money more. And
Yeah.
then Barry gets mad.
You can also tell she didn't really care about him either.
Yeah,
The way that she like talks about him like in a later scene, I think there was like after many times of Edmund, it's who? What's his name before he's Barry?
Redmond, Redmond Barry.
Redmond. Sorry, Redmond Barry. Before he's whatever. Like all of the he does like a lot of like really disrespectful things to the officer.
Mm-hmm.
Like he throws his drink on
Yep.
him. He keeps on basically saying like let's scrap right
Yep.
now. I'll put everything on the
And they
line.
do.
He does not care. And they do. But there was one scene that like sticked out to me where the girl his cousin when he catches her talking to her and he walks up
Oh,
to
with the
her
garment.
and
Yeah, he's got
yeah,
the piece of
yeah. And
clothing.
so he yanks her to the side and you kind of have to imagine like back then like how relationships were. They were really like cuz courtships were really big
Yeah.
things. It was like a pretty big deal to like walk up and like steal the hand of a lady that you're privately talking
Yeah.
to. And he does it in front of him and then she says like a lot of stuff about how she doesn't see him more than like a lapdog. It was like
Yeah.
something along those lines. And so that's where it's like rough. And I think that's where his like it all kind of like crumbled. Like where he views his relationships like in
Yeah.
the like farther in the film is just not having like somebody that truly loves him besides his mom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then after that incident where he throws drink on him and stuff, they duel, and Barry wins, and so the prince or whatever the guy that's high standing, he's an high standing officer. He's not a prince, but he gets shot, and
Mhm.
Barry has to flee the it's not the country, is it? He just has to flee like that local
It's like the
area. He has to
town.
flee that area. So he takes some money,
Yeah.
the last of his mother's, everything she's worked for, all of her money,
His father's like what? Like
inheritance, and
gun.
his father's gun and everything. Yeah, and he
Like
rides off on
literally
horseback.
he left with
Yep,
everything.
he rides off on horseback to go and survive until he can return home. That's his plan. But we already mentioned this, but he gets robbed immediately after that,
Mhm.
and then he has to, now that he's robbed, he doesn't have a horse, he doesn't have his gun anymore, he doesn't have any money, nothing at all. So now he's got to enlist in the army, and I think that's also a great scene where he enlists,
Mhm.
where there's the guys up there talking about joining the army, and the way they talk about it I think is very interesting. I can't remember like a lot of the lines off the top of my head. I didn't take many notes on this
Mhm.
movie because I've watched it
Yeah.
so many times and it's so long and dense I didn't want to miss anything. But
Yeah.
just the way they were like, oh yes, King George, he'll pay for everything. He'll give you $1 gold for joining, and if you keep on fighting, then you make more money. And all the people were like getting lined up, and I'm
Mhm.
like, wow, it really would have been that easy back then to like get a bunch of soldiers. Like, what
Yeah.
else do they
Just
have?
promise them some
Yeah,
gold.
like
And I mean, he was also looking for refuge as
yeah,
well, so being able to hide in
that's the
the
reason that Barry joins, is because he's like a fugitive now. So he's like, well, I gotta join. I gotta make some money. I gotta eat somehow. And this seems pretty easy. and he quickly learns it isn't.
Yeah. What was it? He he was eating rations with like his group,
Oh, this is a
and
great scene. Yeah.
he gets handed like a cup with some soup in it, and he's like, "Hey, can I get another cup? This one's like all like
Yeah.
oily." Was that it? Or like, and then basically some fat
Yep.
dude pulls up
A
and hits him with
ruffian.
the, "Man, you think you an officer?" Ah! Then he starts like laughing at him, and it becomes like a "your mama" off.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, oh yeah, well, why were you scared to see your wife whenever she came by yesterday? And he's like, all right, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Gauntlet's been thrown. We got to punch. We got to
Yeah.
duke it out.
Wasn't it some random soldier just giving
It was, yes,
Redmond the just like the
it
clapbacks?
was,
He was like, "Yeah, he went out with his wife last night."
yeah, it was, that guy he also sees as like a father figure.
Oh,
It's like
I
it's like
didn't know.
the fatter guy.
Yeah,
And that's
yeah.
him.
I
That's
didn't
how
know
they
that.
meet. But yeah, he's telling him all the comebacks. He's giving him all the inside lore so that he knows where to hit him where it hurts. And then they eventually fight. And I really like that scene as well because the
Mhm.
whole movie has been shot like almost this Renaissance era painting the whole time. But then the second they start throwing fists, like it's immediately like it's like more quick shot. The camera's not as
Mhm.
stable anymore. Like it's following the characters more than being like in a static angle or shot. It's a really cool juxtaposition.
Yeah.
And it happens at another point in the movie, but I don't remember when it happens. I can't remember off the top of my head now.
I think I know. I think I
Okay, we'll
know.
get to it. All right. So, yeah, he fights there, and then they go to war, and then the guy that he's like become friends with, he gets killed. Um, and after
Yeah.
that,
It was also so stupid how they fought back then
oh
too, like just
yeah,
lining up. I know that it's like it was like a respect thing, but there's like no respect in war, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Like there's no honor. It's like they're trying to act like, they just charging in there and just getting shot is just so dumb.
yeah.
But yeah, I
I
digress.
really,
I
I guess going back
digress.
to the battles, I really do like the battle scenes in this movie. I think they're great. Like just how many
Yeah.
people there are, and later in the movie, there's another battle scene, or not later, not even that much later, but there's another scene in the 7 Years' War with like there's like they're in an outpost and they're defending instead of approaching, and
Yes.
I think that scene's really
Yeah.
good too.
That scene's really good, yeah.
But we'll talk more about that whenever we get to it. Uh,
What was it? After he dies,
he runs away.
wants to just
Yeah,
leave,
because
yeah.
there's the
Doesn't he
there's the
find
there's the officer and his like
Yeah.
presumed gay lover, and he just steals his
Yes.
documents and runs off. And
Yeah.
then
I think he like undoes the lead from his
yeah,
horse and just completely screws him
uh,
over. I think that's really
that guy's
funny.
so lost in making out that he can't even tell his only means of transportation is currently leaving. It's crazy,
Yep.
but yeah, then eventually he's a wanderer for a bit. Um, oh wait, I think this happens before. This is whenever
He's
yeah,
traveling. Oh, my
this is
bad.
whenever he meets that girl that he stays with for like a few weeks because her husband's at the war.
Oh, that was a bit after cuz he wanders a bit acting like he's a high-ranking
Yeah.
officer, and that's why he's going from like different like
Oh yeah, doesn't he keep up the facade for like a long
zones.
time too? Isn't it like months?
Yeah, he
Yeah.
does. Yeah, no, it's a bit because he went into different. What I was trying to say was like different
Oh
territory.
yeah.
So he went to like completely different armies and stuff.
Yeah. But eventually after uh and again that's well I guess going back to the scene where he meets the girl. Is she German? What is she? I don't remember. She was speaking a foreign language.
She was
She was
German.
German.
She was German, I think.
He meets her and then they talk, and I found it very interesting that he kind of like, sweeps her off her feet and kind of, she's like, can you please stay with me? Uh, Mainly probably for, to survive in the same way that his cousin was marrying that officer to survive, essentially, to keep the family afloat. And I see
Yeah.
that as a situation where, that woman may or may not have been like loyal to her husband in that moment, but she was doing what she had to survive. like because she had a kid to
Mhm.
provide for, and it seemed like they didn't have like that much. So
Yeah.
I thought that was very interesting, where it's like Barry almost gets put in the same situation as the officer that he killed earlier in the movie, but instead of going, okay, well, I'm gonna marry this person and we're gonna do a family and I'm gonna steal this guy's girl and all that, he decides to be the bigger man and step off, before things get too serious. And
Yeah.
I also really like that line of
He's got more
dialogue.
wandering to
I
do.
like that line of dialogue at the end, like that narrator, which I really like. By the way, I really like the narrator. I don't think we've mentioned him yet, but
Yes.
he mentions like a woman in love with a soldier. She'll always like she has to get used to heartbreak, and I thought that was a really interesting line. I really enjoyed that. But then
Mhm.
Barry it finally catches up to him, and he comes across someone from I don't even remember what platoon it was. They're not British though. It's somebody else.
I think it was still German. I just forget what they
It might
were
have been
called back
German,
then.
but they figure out because of Barry has been using the same identity paper for the past month, like or past few months, and they're like, yeah, that guy's been dead for a long time. You're not him. And so he
Yeah.
gets taken and put into the army against his will again because he's like a criminal now. He's like a war criminal. And then he does some more fighting there, and he meets like that soldier, like the guy that took him in, and he kind of forms a bond with him, like a father figure. And I think he's probably the strongest role model for Barry in the movie.
What
The
guy?
the guy that turns him in originally, and then they
Turns him
fight on the
in.
battlefield, and then there's the scene that I mentioned earlier
Oh
with
yeah.
like where they're defending that house and they get blowed up with the cannon, and he's like stuck under the rubble, and Barry saves him, and then he gets like awarded like here's some money and like a thing of honor. You did great.
Wasn't that while he was still under like captivity
Yeah,
though?
yeah, yeah, yeah. But then after that because of that act of like heroic sacrifice, where it's like he could have just like let his captain die and probably just like deserted again, but he
Mhm.
decided that no, I'm gonna save this guy because I think he's a good person, and he sees him
Mhm.
more as like someone he could learn from. I think.
The guy that held him captive?
Yeah, I think that's the
I
same
don't
guy
know. I thought he didn't. No, I thought he didn't care about him like at all.
because he that guy eventually becomes higher power, and he's like, okay, Barry, you're on a secret mission now. You got to go investigate the chevalier that we think is up to no good.
Mhm.
And he's probably my favorite character in the movie. The chevalier, like the poker guy. I
What's his
I
name? Like Lord Bullingdon?
no, 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 I don't think so.
No, Lord Bullingdon is the dude at the very
Yeah,
beginning that I'm thinking
yeah, I
of.
don't remember I just know him as the chevalier.
Shoot.
Uh, he's
Yeah,
he's a
yeah.
really wealthy individual, and his scenes are very interesting because he's the character Barry learns the most from, and probably not for a good reason because he learns how to be a degenerate
Okay.
gambler
I figured
outlaw.
it out. They were
They
Prussians, I
were
think, that
Prussians.
took him.
That's right. That is right. That's ringing a bell.
Yeah.
But yeah, he meets the chevalier, and they do gambling and all that, and they're rigging the gambling too to go in their favor. Which those
I thought that was super
yeah, I,
cool.
I love the scene where
C-
it's like the three guys in the room, like when they're doing their
yeah.
private poker game, and they're like, and Barry is like giving him signals for what the cards are in hand.
Yeah, when he wipes the table, it's like
Yeah,
he says what certain cards he has and like all this stuff. I thought that was
that
really
was
really
that was
cool.
really cool.
The way that like the game was displayed, like it almost put you into the
Yeah,
game, like you were just bystandering
you
it,
you were analyzing the mind games. You're like, okay,
Yeah.
what's really going on here? How is he
Mhm.
figuring this out?
I also like the drip change near that
Oh
time in the movie.
yeah, yeah,
Cuz what is it? That like it goes from like it's uh it's Barry Lyndon like when he's in the army and he's just kind of like he's just a foot
yeah,
soldier and basically his the only time like when he gets his like new high standing like outfit, it's just stolen. So like
Yeah.
when he's like when when he gets to that part and he's gambling and he's able to buy his own outfits, you can see like what luxury looked like back then, like what they dressed like,
Yeah.
what they,
All the makeup they had
what
on
they
their
looked like, how
faces.
they, they would just have
They
makeup
look
on
like
and the
ghosts.
wigs, and it's like you literally like it's just a big change up, because you wouldn't think that like makeup and a bunch of clothes like that would be like very masculine, and you'd expect Barry Lyndon to be like all like, yeah, just kind of all like war torn hero kind of
Yeah, how
thing.
he's been like for most of
Instead
the
of the
movie at
direction
this point.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, but then he does some stuff with the Chevalier, and they mainly rig poker games and talk about, because he's also from Ireland, isn't he? Isn't he also like that's what they like bond over?
Yeah,
Uh,
I think they were both Irish,
but yeah,
and I think they were both being held like in that area, like they couldn't
yeah,
leave.
yeah, yeah. So and they both,
They were both like
yeah, they both
immigrants.
long to go see their homeland again, so they connected over that originally, and so they meet and they do their thing, and eventually,
Well,
oh,
because I think one of the best scenes, like just taking a step back
oh yeah,
entirely, when their first interaction, because I was expecting something entirely
oh when he
different.
breaks
Because when
down,
he went there,
uh
yeah,
huh.
when he was there, what were his rules? He was supposed to be like,
You only speak
um,
like
only,
French.
yeah.
You don't let on the fact that
He
you're a secret
knows,
agent. All this stuff.
because of his accent, it was like he lived in like France or like something for a
Yeah,
bit, or there's something weird like that. Just like, and so I don't know, like, because he like when been giving all this information, like he's really like laying down like every single like, oh, if this happens, do this. If this happens, do this. And it's like you're kind of like overtaken by it. So when he gets in there, like I was expecting like him to either, I was expecting him to lock in,
yeah, and just lie.
but he just,
Yeah,
yeah, but he just completely admitted everything. But honestly, I would do the same
yeah, yeah.
if I was being basically held captive in a country.
But yeah,
I would want to go home.
they eventually he gets caught. The Chevalier gets caught, and Barry. Well, wait. Is it the Chevalier gets caught and then they meet the Lyndon? What's her first name? The lady.
He met, did he meet her through that one guy who like stood up and said, "I believe I was cheated," or something like
No,
that?
that was a different guy. This is at a different party.
Okay. I thought she just came to his estate because she was
She was with another
not a
guy.
lord.
She was with another guy, and he was an older guy, and he came to gamble, and they scammed him out of all of his money. And then,
Hmm.
uh, I can't remember the order of events now, but I guess the eventually the Chevalier gets caught. I don't remember if it's before or after this scene, and he gets like put in jail for however long. And then sometime during this, Barry, or sometime before he got put in jail, Barry met Lady Lyndon, Miss Lyndon. I can't remember her first name now. Uh, through a poker game.
I'm looking at the
The
wiki.
wiki.
Maria?
Maria Lyndon. I don't remember her name being Maria Lyndon. I don't know. Maybe.
Hold on.
But
Who
they
knows?
meet, and I don't even know if they like really like hit it off, you know? Like it's not really like they don't really have these intense like discussions or anything. It's just kind of like, "Oh, you're a woman. I don't have a woman here. I need you." "Oh, but I
Hmm.
have this guy that's on death's door." "Oh, well, okay, I'll wait." And then sure enough, that guy that's on that like 50-year-old man dies. And then Redmond Barry steps in, and he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna be your husband now." So he marries into
Hmm.
this obscene amount of wealth that he can't even fathom. And then that's the
She was an empress,
yeah,
right?
she was like she had like tons of money, tons and tons.
Hmm.
And so they get married, and well, I guess this is like the part 2 of the movie. Everything mentioned beforehand was part 1, and this is like the part 2 split. But
And then I think I think what happens is Barry Lyndon, the first part ends, he escapes wherever he is to go back to
Uh-huh.
England, and the first card game that they had, they were one of the
Oh
they
no,
they
you're
basically
right. I
scammed
think
a
I think they both
prince.
got deported, and then
Yeah, because
yeah,
what was gonna happen is he the whatever his name is, the who's the one guy with all the money that he's under right now, who he's gambling with,
oh, the Chevalier,
the
whatever his
whoever
name
his
is.
yeah, whatever his name is. I think he was supposed to go over borders to settle that dispute over that
Yeah.
money, with that guy, and then Barry like dresses up as him to leave.
Okay. I don't remember
Was
that.
that it?
I do not remember that. But I remember them
Oh,
because the Chevalier was also there whenever he met Miss Lyndon for the first time.
because that's when he him and the dude, the Chevalier or whatever. I'm saying it all
Yeah.
wrong, but they like traveled together for a bit,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Yeah, that's right. They were like a pop-up like casino almost. Like they were like we do pop-up poker
Yeah,
games here and they were like very successful because they cheated all the time. So,
yeah.
but yeah, second half of the movie is now Barry is married to Lady Lyndon, so now he's Barry Lyndon, and then
You can also see a complete attitude change as well.
oh
Him,
yeah,
I think,
being with the
literally the
degenerate
first scene
gambler
he's
for
like,
that long changes something
yeah,
inside of him 100%.
yeah. He what was it?
He meet the
Like the first scene with his wife, he's like like smoking a
he
cigarette
blows it
like
in her face.
nonstop,
Yeah,
and she asks him to like stop smoking it, and he just blows it in her
yeah.
face, and that's like, no, it's probably
It's
not the thing you
it's
should
not
do.
the Barry we know. It's almost like an exact tonal shift,
It's
but it
not.
still feels in character. Like it doesn't. I'm not like, oh, this feels like
Yeah,
a completely. I feel like this is a completely different character, but it's not like, oh, well,
you
this
can
sucks because of it.
understand through the first part like the hardships he's been through, and like also you can see where his mind
Yeah,
is, like how that could happen. No man is perfect.
he gets some amount of power, and immediately it all goes to his head.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so and then like immediately after that, they're like in love or whatever for a bit, and then Barry immediately like cheats on her with like three other different women, all within the
Mm-hmm.
span of like,
He's hosting parties
oh
too,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And just like these women, he's just cheating on her at these
yep.
parties.
And then he's cheating on her with one of the maids, I think, too, in like the
Yes.
in the courtyard. But yeah, I mean, he's a bad guy now. I'm like, don't do that. You
Mm-hmm.
could redeem yourself, man. You've done it before. You can do it again.
Yeah.
And
Was it almost like directly after his wife finding out that he cheated like on the maid, he like goes and apologizes?
I think so.
But it's like
It's
a
like a kind of
like
it's kind of forced. It's not like
cuz
a
yeah.
because he
Well,
also
the only way I can think of it as like being like a sincere apology is that men back then were, super, egotistical.
mm-hmm,
It's like entirely different from like, how we are now, where we like care about other people and stuff. Like
yeah,
what? So like for a man to like step down in that time just to say sorry, it means something at least a little bit,
yeah,
even though he's already way too in the
yeah.
deep end. That's at least how I
And then in one of the next
kind of
scenes,
think
he
about
goes
it.
to a brothel with multiple women that are naked, that are crawling all over him. So yeah,
Oh yeah,
yeah.
well, yeah, never mind.
But
I take back what I said.
they get over that. They work their way through that, and they have a baby. And Barry Lyndon loves his child.
Oh, we didn't even mention
Oh
that
yeah,
the Empress, she has like a son, which is a stepson to Barry,
yes.
and
And the
he
stepson
does
does
not
not
like
like
Barry at
Barry.
all.
Again, he's disrespectful in the same way that Barry was disrespectful to the officer that was trying to marry his cousin earlier in the film. But
Hmm.
I can excuse the
Oh
kid
yeah,
because he's like
I could see
7
it.
at this point.
Except when he grows up, he's still
He's still the
a
same.
massive
Yeah,
bitch.
yeah. So yeah, uh, they have a baby, and Barry takes a liking more to his biological son than his stepson, and his stepson gets mad at him because of that, and he also abuses his stepson, verbally, physically. He abuses his stepson a lot,
Yeah.
and
Also, the stepson like views his mother like very very highly, and so
yeah,
I think through the time of like when he was cheating and he was just a young kid, he would like they would confide in each other in a way.
yeah,
So it's like beyond resentment. He just straight up like just does not like this dude at all.
yeah. I could see that.
And also he's not labeled a lord either. He's just a guy.
Mm-hmm.
And so to like a prince having a dad that's just a guy,
Yeah,
like, it's you could see.
yeah, yeah, yeah. His ego would have been shattered because he was
Mhm.
used to his dad being all powerful, and now it's just this guy that used to
Yeah,
gamble a
being a
lot.
lord and stuff.
Yeah.
He's
So
cheating on my mom, and he's not a lord,
yeah.
and he spanked me. So,
Well, we'll get into the biggest one here in a second, where there's a time skip, and things are kind of the same. The family's kind of
what was?
conflicting with each other. The
Mhm.
the stepson does not like the biological son. The biological son is too stupid to realize that because he's like 5. They
Mhm.
have like sibling arguments, but I think it's pretty clear that the stepson resents like that offspring of Barry and sees it like as part of him. Like, you could grow up to be like him. I don't want that to happen. You know?
Yeah, I can see it. What was it? They were getting private tutoring,
Yeah.
and the little kid is like, just being a little kid. They're like sitting there like, "Hey, what does this word mean?" And they're
Where's my
like,
pencil?
"It means this."
Yeah.
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 And then he's like, "Can you please stop bugging me and do your work?" And then the little kid like just I think it was more out of boredom than
Uh huh.
anything, just like runs over to him and is like, "Hey, that's my
Yeah.
pencil." And then they start like fighting over it, and I just it it like that scene, not I mean, he pulls he pulls the little kid and starts spanking
Oh
them.
yeah.
And that's when
Yeah.
he gets in trouble because he gets caught. But
Yeah. Yeah.
it, but it's like you can see how he's a
Uh
child
huh.
to be able to like I don't know, just not even begin to try and understand the kid at all. He just is frustrated that they're even there to begin with, and so he just starts spanking them,
Yeah. And then Barry Lyndon appears and
He
is
lives a
like,
very
"All
spiteful
right,
life.
buddy. All right.
I told you never to lay a hand on that kid. I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna beat you now.
Oh, yeah.
All right."
Yeah, he would give him
Yeah.
spankings. And I think that was that like right after that he gave the stepson a spanking or
Mhm.
whatever,
And
and he would like count and
I
stuff.
also think it's really cool
And
that the spanking scenes in this film are almost in the same framing as Barry getting whipped whenever he's in the 7 Years' War with the Prussians. Like, it's almost the exact same
oh,
framing. Uh,
I didn't even think of
yeah,
that.
it's pretty cool. But this movie's pretty epic.
And then the stepson says something like this will be the last time that I'm disrespected in my home,
Yeah,
like
you won't
something
lay
like
a hand
that.
on me again.
You won't lay a hand on me again,
Hmm.
something like that.
And then the stepson proceeds to bring his mother is doing something important. I think it's like some kind of art thing. Like, she's
Okay,
playing
no,
piano.
what's happening is why it's such a big deal is because Barry needs basically his estate will mean nothing if he dies,
Yeah,
and being a lord would not only like signify like greater importance and stuff, but it would also like bring like much more wealth into his family. And so he puts like tons and tons of money in all these other
yeah,
people just to get their approval. And that's pretty crazy because it's like you have to be friends with people that wouldn't, really care unless you gave them a bunch of money, hosted events, like did all
yeah.
this stuff. And so that's what was happening, I think. It was all leading up to him being a
Okay,
lord.
okay.
and there was the big party with a bunch of like officials there,
Yes.
and
Yes.
his Barry's wife is playing the piano, and Barry's like sitting down. I think he might be talking to somebody, I don't
Yeah.
know. And the stepdaughter
The
and the
stepson and the yeah
stepson, sorry, and the daughter, they walk in, but the daughter is
the
wearing
son.
the stepson's shoes. And
There is no
when they
daughter.
walk
It's a
in, she's
son.
just being, "Oh, I thought it was a daughter." Okay,
Oh,
never
did you
mind.
really think it
Sorry.
was a daughter? No,
Yeah,
it's a boy.
I forget. I forget.
It's a stepson and a boy.
Stepson and a
Yeah.
boy. Yeah, but he's wearing
The shoes, the
he's
wrong size
wearing the
shoes.
shoes of the
Yeah.
son, and so the son is walking in completely barefoot to this like big like high ranking official kind of party
Yeah.
where they're all like highbrow watching things and discussing
Mhm.
things. And I think, what was it? He says like, "Oh, they fit really well on her."
Yeah. On him.
Or him,
Yeah.
sorry. I keep saying her. But and he turns to the party of like officials and says like basically outs his Barry for like everything
Yeah.
that's happened to him, and makes him look like a complete dweeb in front of all these people, basically canceling his like any way of him to reach like a lord status
Mhm.
just by a couple words. And when you were talking about the scene at the beginning where there was the where it's shot
That's the
differently
yeah, okay.
with the
Okay.
fight, that's
Whenever
exactly
he
what I
gets
was
thrown
thinking about,
back,
because
yeah.
Barry tweaks out and because he knows that his stepson resents him, and this was probably the worst thing that he could have possibly done,
Yeah.
because before, like, he was harboring all of his hate and just kind of like frowning at him and like being like, "Oh, you're never gonna hurt me again." He's like, "Whatever,
Uh-huh.
dude," because he looks like a geek.
Yeah.
But he pulls up and he just ruins everything, and that's when Barry like crashes out and just starts beating him
Yeah.
in front of
Yep.
everybody. And the wife runs out and grabs their son, and everyone is like trying to pull Barry off of him. That's one of the coolest things,
Yeah.
I think, in the movie, was that, because all of these people that were I don't know, eating crumpers,
Yep.
dunking crumpers, whatever. They had to like try and lock in and get Barry
Uh-huh.
off of his own son, and it's like it's a complete tonal
And then the
shift
hard
from
cut to him
like,
outside thinking
yeah,
about his decision is also a great camera shot.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, after that, does that lead into the son's like birthday event?
I
I think
forgot.
so. I think
So
that's what happens
you can
next.
take the reins again.
So there may be some. Well, no, because there's like a narrator bit where it's like Barry is still, he still talks to people, but everyone views him differently now, and no one likes him anymore. So
Oh
Barry is
yeah,
depressed. Yeah,
he tried to go to this one guy and invite him over, and he was just hitting the like,
I don't want to be associated with you, man.
yeah, basically.
Yeah,
He was like, yeah, 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 I'll totally come. I have something else planned. Well, not totally come, but he's like, I have something else planned, but
I'll try and
I'll
make
come
it.
if I have
I'll
time, kind
try
of
and
thing.
make it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And Barry's just like, it's so rough.
yeah, yeah.
Beating his son in front of all those people.
So he's like, okay, all right, my son's birthday is coming up. I'm gonna get my son something he wants. He wants a pony. Is it a pony or a horse?
Well,
Or he has a pony. He wants a horse.
he was gonna he was gonna get him a pony, but then, well, yeah, he has a pony, and his son was like, I want a horse because I want to ride like as fast as you
Yeah.
and ride like side by side kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think it was like there was some like dinner table discussion where the kid was like, oh daddy, what am I gonna get? The local like barn or whatever
Yeah.
said that they were sheltering another horse, and so
Uh-huh.
basically this smart like little kid just like figured out his birthday present just by
Yep.
being a little sneaker.
Well, it's also
And,
implied that the guy just told the kid, because
Oh.
the
Well,
the guy that's managing the stable, Barry gives him extra money to not tell the kid, and then immediately after that, the kid's like, I figured out I got a horse. And so Barry just like, he gets
Oh.
visibly upset.
oh yeah, okay.
But yeah, so he gets a horse,
Yeah.
and then he's riding
I already
it.
knew. I already
You
knew.
knew what was going to happen?
Yes,
He's
dude.
riding the
I already
horse,
knew.
and because
What was that one like super like dramatic like movie that's like nearly like it's like 6 hours long and it's that one lady like around the same time in America.
I have no idea what you're talking
Why can't
about.
I think about it?
Are you talking about War and Peace? I don't know.
No. Hold
That's one
on.
I've
I'm
been
so
meaning to
stupid.
watch. I
It's
haven't
like a
seen War and Peace yet. That's like an 8-hour movie. That'll be a recommendation soon enough. Um,
fudge. I don't know why I can't remember the movie,
I don't
but
know.
it's
I don't
whatever.
know what
We
you're
can
talking
skip over
about,
it.
but yeah. Um,
I had to watch it in like an elementary school and I hated it.
but yeah, his son gets the horse, and I think it is like after his birthday. He's like, all right, you can go ride the horse, and then the horse gets freaked out, bucks him off, and then falls on top of his son and puts him in a critical
Well, what was
condition.
it? Well, I think like he had a rule not to go until his birthday. And the little
But
kid
we see a birthday party because there's like a clown there and he's doing stuff.
oh, I
Right?
thought the kid
I think the
I don't
rule
remember.
was you can't ride it before your birthday, and you can't ride it without me. So they do the birthday scene, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
we see the thing of the guy coming up, and he's like, Barry Lyndon, your kid, he wouldn't listen, and he's got himself critically injured. And they try to get a
Mhm.
doctor in, and the doctor can't do anything, so the kid dies. And this, it's like a tragedy that just sends shatters throughout the entire family at that point. The
Mhm. The
stepson,
mom starts going
yeah, the
insane.
mom starts going insane and tries to kill herself. The stepson is even more upset now because he's had time to think about him getting beat in front of all those people.
He also thinks that his mom's like mental state was like completely Barry's
Uh
fault.
huh.
So he has even more
And
like
and that she's getting scammed
hatred
out of all
towards
of her
him.
money too.
Yeah. Well, that
That
is
is
true.
true. He is
So
right about that one. That is true.
he is right.
But yeah, and Barry Lyndon is now like a depressed alcoholic who like the only way he can do anything is by like feel his vice is just through vices of gambling and alcohol. That's the only way he can feel anything that's not just like pain.
Mhm.
So he's spending
Yeah.
all of the money. He is like making their estate go broke. And
Mhm.
then
I also thought the scene where it's him his son and his wife like right before his biological son
uh-huh.
dies. I thought that was a really good
I'm trying to
scene
remember what scene that
cuz
is.
the son like is just completely bandaged up and he's asking about like
Oh yeah.
he's asking if he's going to die
Uh-huh.
and he
He wants to hear the story
he
again.
asks yeah, he asks Barry to like tell like a war story again and I think one of the things he said was that he wanted his mom
Yeah.
and Barry to stop being like trifling towards each other and to
Yeah.
love each other so that they would see him in heaven. And I thought that was like really rough. That was really
Yeah.
rough to hear.
Yeah, because they don't.
But
They, they.
yeah.
I mean, this kills the marriage essentially, and what we're about to talk about.
Mhm.
Again, probably another one of my favorite scenes in the movie. The stepson, he's had enough, and
Oh yeah.
he.
He pulls up to his estate
Yep.
and I think it was he does quite literally the same
He throws
thing
the
that
gauntlet.
Barry did. Yeah,
It's
he asks for like a shoot off
yep,
thing,
and
and I think when he shows up to Barry, like he's all like drunk, and there's like it's like people from a party the night before were
uh
there,
huh.
and they're all just kind of like hanging around and
Yeah,
stuff like
because
that.
in the scene before it's showing like another party, and it's like at the end of the party, Barry has to be carried out by two other people to like to a
Hmm.
chair or whatever. So he's waking up the next day from a hangover, and it's his stepson is like, "We're gonna duel right now," and he's like, "Okay." So
What was it? He needs apprehensions after like his leg is basically like completely like fucked up, and he has to walk with a
oh,
cane
I was gonna
after
say
he's
I
beat in
was
front of all those
yeah
people.
yeah, but there's so they go and the best I think this is probably the best scene in the movie. This shootout,
Yeah, I
this duel
agree.
is great. It's because the stepson is like, he was really overconfident and cocky. He's like, no, I'm doing this. And again, similar to Barry, whenever the time comes, he's a little nervous. And
I think he was a lot. He was a lot like Barry wasn't as nervous as the other guy in like his first duel.
yeah, because Barry had a father figure at that point that he could look up to. I can't remember the guy's name, but it wasn't. It was someone that was like close to the family or like a guard or something.
I also think it just shows that Barry has nuts.
Yeah,
he got balls of steel in his own way.
That's true. And his stepson didn't have that father figure in his life. Because Barry Lyndon's not exactly a great person at this point in the narrative.
No.
And so he's, it's time to duel in this like, is it like a church or it's like a barn. It's like a barn.
It's like a barn. It's like a stone barn. So.
And it looks great. There's like all these doves in there and everything. It looks great.
Mm-hmm.
But
there's also shot like the roofing in it is like really tall too. So I think there were like a lot of really cool shots
of the light piercing through and everything. Yeah, it looks great. And his stepson takes the gun and he's like, "All right, I'm gonna shoot," and his gun messes up and it misfires. Well, actually,
no, I think
he messes
was just
up.
Yeah, he was so nervous that he just shot into the floor.
Yeah.
And then he was like, "Oh, can I retry?"
The gun is messed up.
And they were like, "Nope, that was your shot."
Yeah, and so Barry, in this moment, he could end this feud and everything, but he decides to. Well, I have two interpretations of this scene. I'm curious how you'll see it. He decides to show mercy on his son, and he shoots into the floor. And then his son, he's like, "Hey, we could just end this right here, right now. We don't have to kill you. No one has to die today." And then the stepson shoots him, and it hits him in the leg, and he has to get amputated. But I think I saw something online that I'd never thought of before on this rewatch. I was reading some comments and stuff from people, and I saw where someone mentioned that like this heroic act of like him, not firing upon his stepson is more selfish in nature because he just wants to die. Like he can't take the heartbreak anymore, and he just wants it all to be over. And I thought that was very interesting because I'm like, yeah, you really could see it like both ways, and I hadn't thought about it that way before.
Yeah, me neither.
But yeah,
when I was watching it, it's just like two completely different men because like a duel like that back then, it's not like how it is now. Like two guys with two freaking like I don't know akimbo switches at each other.
Yeah.
It's just not the same way. Those bullets were like. Not only was it, there's just so much like anticipation in like every moment because that musket is like the small little thing that could take his life away.
Yeah.
And that not only can that shot be like it can if you don't know the pistol then you don't know like where the shot usually leads or like stuff like that. And so there's like small things in the fights. They also like the tension is just like brought in those moments because it's just two guys settling their debts, and it's so cool. Barry's face like after he shoots into the ground and all like the birds fly off and stuff, and then he tries to talk to his stepson like, well, we can settle it, and just like you can see like the determination return on his face knowing that he has another shot.
Yeah.
And he's just like, I don't think my debts have been settled. And it's like just a wow, what a dick moment.
Yeah.
But like and then you see it on Barry's face, like the betrayal, like it's just expertly done scene, like just reeling you in and just, making you think.
Yeah. Phenomenal movie.
I think it's really good.
And we're getting close to the end.
I haven't thought about that
viewer.
though.
We're getting close to the end
of
this movie.
Of like the you saying like what?
It being a selfish act of him essentially wanting to kill himself. Yeah.
I can understand that.
I could see it in that moment.
I feel like
it's one of those I can see it both ways.
I kind of also think that that was kind of like really right after like their like biological son died.
That was like days after.
So I kind of So I kind of do feel like he understands that like this would drive his wife like absolutely insane. Like that's all I was thinking about. but it's like they're way too deep now. There's like really nothing that he could do to fix anything that he's done.
Yeah.
So
So he gets
I guess
shot
that does make sense.
in the leg, and he gets escorted to another town, and they have to like amputate it, and he's like, okay, he gets like a letter, doesn't he? And they're like, all right, you can't come back to the estate. We're breaking all ties with you. You go back.
The prince goes back to his
Yep.
mom and is like, "Yep, I shot him. We're free now. We're free of that horrible evil man.
And then they learn all the money's
and
gone.
we're just gonna live here."
They learn it's all gone.
Yeah.
Yep. And then his mom, Barry's mom, shows up, and then they go back, and he tries to. I love the ending narration of he tries to he's a gambler again, a wanderer on the run, with with far less success than last time, and he dies like poor and penniless. Like it's just like a crazy ending where it's like, wow, makes you think.
Yeah.
Makes you think about the important things in life. But yeah, I think. Oh yeah, I also really quickly want to mention the music. I love the music in this movie. I think it's great.
Mm-hmm.
If this wouldn't have come out like the same year as Jaws, it probably would have got best score. But that's just unlucky,
That is unlucky.
But yeah. Are we ready to do ratings?
1 sec. I have a thought.
Okay.
One thing I've been like really infatuated with, why I like the movie so much, is I think one thing I've been like really like noticing is that what you make of life is like your decisions and stuff, and like what happens to you. So like basically his fate was like by his own hand.
Yeah.
Like everything that he did led to that final moment in the movie where he lived the rest of his life as a gambler with nearly not enough like success.
Yeah.
And it's just to be able to step into the life of somebody from that long ago. It's just like, well, maybe it's a constant. I in current day I shouldn't cheat on my wife.
Yeah. That's true.
Be a bad dad.
There's some good lessons to be learned in this movie.
Party every single night.
Of everything Barry Lyndon does in the second half
basically.
of the movie.
So it's I think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Do you want me to give my rating?
I'll go ahead and give my rating first. I'll just go ahead and let
ahead.
people know this is my second favorite movie of all time, and it is a 10 out of 10 for me. So that's my rating.
I also give it a 10 out of 10 because I did enjoy it.
And it's
usually with movies that I think are 10 out of 10s,
Yeah.
I'll like in my head I'll
Watch
like
them again.
preemptively make it a 9.
Oh yeah.
And then be like, oh, I want to watch it again. But like Barry Lyndon was one of those movies that I was just like really trapped in for its whole duration, and I thought it was really good.
And for a 3-hour period piece with not a lot of action or anything, and it's mainly just people talking in Shakespearean dialect the whole time, I'd watch it again right now. It's pretty entertaining. Great movie.
It is really
really entertaining. Lots to the pacing's
Real
great.
Hustlers must watch.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. All right.
If you cheat on your wife, you should watch this movie.
That's true. You can learn something.
You could.
All right. So, second movie is Ex Machina, and this was your recommendation, so I'll let you take the reins on this discussion more.
Okay. So where should I start? I'm trying to remember the corporation name. Was it like Blue Book?
I can't remember.
Okay.
It doesn't
Anyways, I don't remember the characters' names.
I guess spoilers to go ahead and do that. The basic plot of the movie is Jeff Bezos makes AI that he wants to have sex with a lot, and then one of them goes rogue. So
yeah. It's I forget the name, but there's a nerdy guy. He works for a corporation. I think it's called Blue Book.
Yeah.
And he
I can't remember any of their names now either. You're right. There's like the nerd guy and then like I'm going to look it up right now.
Yeah. So, yeah, go ahead. I'll try and finish this, but the nerdy guy is basically chosen to help the founder of the organization he's working for. And he's the nerdy guy is a hashtag nerd, and he's very, very smart. And so that leads him to choose, or leads him to believe that he was chosen for like that reason. So he's like, he's brought there, and he's brought by helicopter, dropped here, and he kind of has like no form of communication to the outside world. He's just brought here to help in basically this Jeff Bezos guy, this
Yeah.
Jeff Bezos figure.
Yeah, I've got the
And
names if you want names now.
yeah,
So the
you
nerd
can give me
the nerd
names.
guy is named Caleb. The Jeff
Yeah.
Bezos guy is Nathan. And
All
then the
right.
AI they're interviewing is Ava.
Is
Yeah.
Ava. Yeah.
So
Um so okay, Caleb, Nathan, Ava. Okay,
yeah.
those are basically the three main characters.
Yeah, there's only really three characters
But
in the movie. They're at his compound the whole time.
so Nathan shows Caleb Ava,
Yeah.
and basically he is recording Ava and Caleb's like conversations through like this like glass room where Caleb sits down and he just talks to this like AI. And so
They're doing a Turing
at
test
first,
to see if the
yeah, if she is like, I don't know, able to form, like, I don't know,
if
be able
what you
to
call it.
work with humans. I don't know.
If you didn't know that she was an android, would you think she was? That's like the Turing test. Like
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So let me think.
so they're doing he's the whole point of the movie is they do test on this robot where it's like, okay, you got to ask it questions, see its responses, does it sound human or not? And the whole time, Jeff Bezos, man, is being evil in the background.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of the whole movie, really.
It really is.
I thought there would be
There's
more to talk
moments
about
where
with this one,
it
but there's like a
yeah,
knot.
there's moments where it ties to like like real life.
Yeah.
There's when Ava was like being made, Caleb's like Nathan takes Caleb to the lab where Ava was made, and he's showing like her weird like
Gel brain.
bioengineered like gel brain, and he's talking about how basically his big business where he made all the bucks was like a search engine. I think that's what it was.
Yes, it was a search engine.
And so basically he the Nathan guy who's big and evil, he would to be able to generate an AI like Ava, he
tapped into everybody's phones.
He tapped into everyone's phones, and he's like, "Isn't that horrible?" And he's like, "Well, they can't sue me. These people can't sue me because they do it.
All these other
as well."
corporations,
Like,
yeah.
And so
Makes you
it
think.
makes sense.
Makes you think.
Makes you think.
That's another one. That's a scene I like. There's the bit where Ava starts like presenting, like pieces of paper, and she's like making art and things, and then immediately after that, Nathan shows up and he's like ripping the art up and everything. I'm like, wow, this guy is almost like comically evil. Like,
he
wouldn't that make sense for it to like if it made art? Wouldn't that be like a greater proof that it is like almost human?
It's like, yeah, but it's also the Nathan guy explains why he did it.
Yeah. I'm sorry, it's been 3 weeks since I've seen this movie. This episode got delayed,
it's okay.
guys. So
it did. Basically through Ava, Caleb's conversations, he's able to like he knows how like AI programs respond, how like how they would respond to a human, and so like he's figuring out that this robot has its own conscience like entirely.
Yeah.
And so there's like aspects that he's noticing and picking up. And I think near their like third or fourth day, she starts being like not flirtatious, but she has
she is
attraction.
Flirtatious, 100%.
Oh, well, true. But she has attraction towards him, like a lot.
Yeah.
And so that's when Caleb starts getting a bunch of questions, because he's like, an AI shouldn't be a her. It shouldn't be a him. It should, it should be like an it. Like there's no reason for it to have sexual function.
Mm.
And this Nathan guy is like, yeah, you can bang it if you
And this
want.
Nathan guy's like, I built a full vagina into this thing, and it works. And it's
Yeah,
like, oh, okay,
and
buddy.
yeah, chill out. And he brings up something where it's
What's
like,
your type?
if
What's your type?
yeah,
Yeah.
but I think it was something along like it. He wants like his robots to live, which is
Yeah.
like such a weird.
He
like,
wants to be
don't
God.
say that. That's
I mean,
red flag.
that's what he mentions
It's like
earlier in the movie. He wants to be God. Because Caleb
in
mentions,
his
like, I can't remember the line of dialogue now, but he mentions, like, isn't that something a god would do? And then later in the movie, Nathan's like, you called me a god, remember? So yeah. He's very egotistical.
yeah, yes, he is.
He's also a
I think he said
crazy
like
guy.
something in that. Oh, for
And a
sure.
pervert.
He's kind of the worst.
He's kind of the
but-
worst ever, and he deserves everything that happened to him.
But the Nathan guy, he said something. It was it was if he's making life, like he doesn't want it to be. He wants it to live. He doesn't want it to just be like a thing, you know. And so how he views like the robots are them like exceeding humanity in a way. They would be able to, you know, take over the earth, and it would be the footprint of all humans that shows that we're smarter than we really are.
Yeah.
And like all this stuff. Like I don't know. It's really stupid. It's really Nathan is a dumbass.
That's true. I guess
I think it's like a what makes me really upset is I've been watching like the Ghost in the Shell movies again.
Oh yeah, let's bring
and it makes
this
me
up.
really, really upset that Elon Musk likes Ghost in the Shell because
and he's making the Tesla robots.
I know what. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know what he's thinking when he watches those movies, where he's like, "Oh, wow, that's so cool!
Yeah.
I'm gonna do that," and he doesn't really like think about like those movies don't. A lot of the like sci-fi movies I watch, they don't glorify its like dystopian like landscape. It's
Yeah.
more of like this is a product of like what humanity has come to, like good or bad. Like this is just how we are. And Elon Musk is trying to make this jump to be like ahead of everybody, to be the guy that like almost in this movie is like, making his like footprint on not only like
history,
but like
creation. The first
humans,
guy to ever
creation,
create,
like
life.
It's just like this movie is basically like Elon Musk, bro.
Yeah.
He's I hate that guy.
You want to know something really
I
funny?
can't he's what?
Elon Musk reviewed this film. He loved it. Back whenever it originally
He
came out,
did?
whenever he was like a social like messiah to everybody. When everyone's like, "Oh, dude,
Okay.
everybody loved Elon." There was like episodes of Family Guy with Elon Musk on it. He was on Simpsons and everything. And everyone's like, "Oh, he's a chill dude." And then he bought Twitter and he kind of went crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, he has seen this movie and he didn't get it. So
I don't
yep.
I don't understand. I think it's so funny that like I've watched so many robot movies and they've just
I was
made me
gonna
all
say
hate
I was
Elon
gonna
Musk.
wait to mention the Ghost in the Shell for iRobot because buddy.
Yeah, that too.
Ooh.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. Ex Machina, it's a movie. It's really simple because all it is just people talking and just
hey,
like
they dance in one
coming
scene.
to this like they do.
That's a great scene. I love that because he programmed that entire thing out just to show somebody once.
We're not really
the android
Yeah.
didn't think of that on its own. He programmed it to do that more than likely.
Yeah.
So I think that's very funny.
And so, okay, I have to remember. So Caleb, he when he has his conversations with Ava, Ava she has like
She'll shut down the
her
power.
own control.
Yeah.
She'll shut down power, which is outside of Nathan's control. Like he doesn't know what's going on in that aspect. And so it gives like usually in Caleb's and Ava's conversations, they're always being watched. And so whenever like it cuts to a red and
Whenever the power
it's
goes
just
out,
the both of them.
It's just two
Whenever
of
the
them.
power goes out, it's just the both of them. And so they're able to like get just like for the couple, like maybe it's like a minute or
Yeah.
two where they're able to just sit there and like talk to each other without being
Uh huh.
watched. And that's where the AI weird. That's
Yeah.
where if it's really just like if a robot has this much control, it's just over.
Yeah.
It's just straight up over.
Yeah.
Like that. Like I don't know. Like there's no way you can see it. I don't. I don't. It's no bueno. No bueno.
Yeah. I guess going to kind of the end of the movie, I think we've kind of talked about kind of the
Yeah.
structure and everything. The acting's pretty good all around.
Mm,
Oscar Isaac's a
it
standout.
is good.
I don't remember too much of the music.
Oh, I know.
It was
I know how
alright
to
from what I
where to
remember.
bring it in.
Okay.
There was one. I liked the music a lot near the end.
Near
I
the
thought it
end.
was really
Okay,
good.
I'm gonna have to rewatch the end of the movie to remember
That's
the tracks.
probably that's probably the only time I've remembered the music.
Hmm.
Besides one scene, but it's
Besides the disco
more
scene, yeah.
not the
Oh, I
disco
remember that
scene,
music. But
but I think like the movie it's not that much about its like soundtrack kind of. It's
yeah,
like usually when I notice it, it's like a lot more disconnected from the scene. It's more for you to take in what's happening more and like get,
yeah,
get more enthralled with it than like I guess I don't know, what else would they use music
yeah.
for like nowadays like
This doesn't
to make you
have
feel
this
a
doesn't
certain
have
way
like an
like it's
annihilation moment where the movie just evokes a panic attack through the music alone.
yeah, it's more like watch what's happening, make this decision for yourself kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, but okay, I know how to steer it towards the end of the
Okay.
movie.
All right.
Basically, through Ava and Caleb's conversations, they realize that Nathan is going to make a new
Uh
Ava,
huh.
and this Ava, will with it being new, the old one will be
It'll be
basically like
wiped.
completely scrapped.
Yeah.
It will not be the same person anymore, and so Caleb and Ava, they have like, power goes out during one of their conversations and they're talking to each other and they're like, "Hey, so Nathan, he has a drinking problem. I'm going to get him blackout drunk. That way I can steal his cardigan because I've already done that. And then we're going to get out of here." And so come next day, it's like Caleb and Nathan talking. They also have like a really weird relationship cuz Caleb is really he's really like nervous and like an anxious person, which I get. And he's talking to like a Jeff Bezos type person who's like, "Hey man, just be my friend.
Yeah.
We're just gonna chill. We're just gonna hang out." And it's like you can tell it's like a facet. Like he's not genuinely wanting to be friends with him. But they come basically Ava's gonna be scrapped, and so that's when the movie like has to ramp up. They're like, "Yeah, we got to get out of here." And so come next day, Nathan isn't drinking, and Caleb is like confused as to why because he's been drinking like the whole time. And so Nathan like tells him something along the lines of like, "Yeah, last night I was particularly effed up, so I'm not doing it anymore." And so Caleb's just like shite.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when Nathan shows him his computer, where he hid like a camera in that room for when the power went out,
Yeah.
and it said the whole plans
But
of
then Caleb had a secret thing where he's like, "Oh yeah, well I knew you did that, so I made it to where the plans already happened," which I thought was so much of a stretch. I was like, I don't
yeah.
know.
But it was also that's that in that scene Nathan explains why he ripped up the picture as well,
Hmm.
because he said something like he wanted to like evoke something in Caleb to make him like act
Okay.
and try and basically the whole experiment was just for the robot to escape.
Yes.
And I know and it sounds so weird, but basically him going in there, ripping up the picture in front of her, he placed a camera in there while he did that, and he also wanted Caleb to have his "oh, I gotta go defend my queen" moment.
Yeah.
And I think that's also when Caleb wrote, he was like, "Yeah, well, I already knew this, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm already ready." And that's when Nathan's like, "What? No!" And he like punches Caleb in the face,
Yeah.
and He goes out and well, shoot, we haven't even explained how like there's like other robots there
There's only one other
that are like
robot.
earlier models.
Well, there's one other
But you
robot
but
that's active. All the other robots are just there for him to.
in his closet.
Yeah, they're just his sex toys, I
But
guess.
yeah. But yeah, this Nathan guy is not cool. He makes like other robots basically just have sex with
Yeah,
them,
yeah,
and
because they're all because he mentions
he's
earlier in the film where he's like, "What's your type?" Like Asian chicks, and so all of the robots he's designed are based off of Asian girls. And I
yep.
think at one point in the movie, it's even implied that like they selected this guy, and
Oh yeah, they didn't select the Caleb guy because he was super smart.
no,
Nathan revealed that he basically chose it because since he has like the best search
uh huh,
engine like ever, he could view this guy. He knew that he didn't have any family.
yeah,
He's single. Um and Ava's face was actually constructed to be his type
yeah,
through the porn that he
yeah.
watches.
And that's when I
So
said he's the bad guy out loud in front of the TV screen.
he's the bad guy. Yeah. But the scene after that where there's a confrontation with Elon Musk and his sex robot
Yeah.
and the robot that he made for Caleb.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I noticed the music because it's very like it's like very open
Yeah.
and like I don't know the exact way to describe it, but it's like it's just kind of there, not really like overtaking what's happening, but he goes to fight Ava. No, Ava, she not fight her, but like be like, go back in your
Yeah.
place, and then she rushes at him. He cleans her arm off with like a freaking like metal
Yeah, I was about
bar,
to say it's like a pipe
and
or something, isn't
then
it?
one of the other the only other active robot shows up
Yeah.
and
Stabs
stabs
him
him
in
in
the
the
back.
back,
Yeah.
and he's like, oh
Yeah,
shoot,
he
and he like
realizes in that
stands up.
moment, oh wait, maybe I was wrong about all this stuff I was doing for multiple years. Oh.
Yeah, maybe I was wrong for all this. And so
They
then
kill him and Caleb gets stuck in a
yeah,
cage or a door
basically
and Ava
all of the
leaves him.
rooms in the house
Yeah.
are like key card activated, and so he has
Oh, again,
the key
that's
card that
okay.
Caleb has is like he can't get into certain rooms or leave certain rooms, and so the Nathan guy has
Here,
yeah.
let me sidetrack for just a second. I have another nitpick
No,
to
go
bring
ahead.
up about this film. Key cards, really? Why did he have a key card to get into, like, to change everything to enact this crazy escape plan? Why wouldn't he have a password system instead? Is he
Well,
stupid?
you see, the key card is cool.
Was it all part of his master plan? I don't know. Whatever.
You know, Elon Musk would do key
I
cards.
don't know. Elon Musk also made a
'Cause they're
Cybertruck,
cool.
so yeah, I don't know about all that.
Yeah, but it was like, yeah, Caleb got locked into one of the rooms
And he
because he
can't
doesn't have the
leave.
key card, and it's like it's robo bishified, so he can't like break through the glass or
Nope.
anything, and he is just straight up trapped there.
Yep. Presumably,
And
probably just
why
to
did
starve and die, more than likely.
unless he's a robot?
He's not a robot. He tried. That's another
What if you
scene.
think about? No, I'm kidding.
That's another scene where I'm like, okay, if he had been here for like more than 3 days, him cutting his arm open to see if he's a robot would like make more sense. But I'm like, this dude is freaking out. And he's been here for like 3 days. Like, if this
Yeah.
movie took place over the course of a month and that happened like halfway through a month, I could see him losing his mind.
Also, him cutting he cuts himself on his arm, and that's just like, you're gonna die.
Yeah,
I would do like my cheek.
yeah. But yeah, what if his cheek's not robotified? You don't know that.
What makes him assume that his arm
I
is
don't
like?
know.
It's whatever. It's just a scene.
Yeah.
Um.
But yeah, then the robot leaves and she gets freedom, and then it says session 7, so it's like, oh, she was testing them the whole time. Boom. Roll credits.
Yep.
All right. We talked about acting, we talked about music, we talked about the movie. I don't know. There's like not really much to talk about because it's just like a well done thriller.
Yeah. The movie really explains everything that happens.
Yeah.
It's more of like a you have to you come to your own conclusion,
Like,
kind of.
I probably sound like I've been a little bit negative, but like I think it's a fun watch, and I would rewatch it. It's just I don't get like much emotionally out of it, you know, like I would
Yeah.
other movies that talk about this subject matter, like Ghost in the Shell 2.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah, I was about to say there's some movies that just do it like just better.
yeah,
I think this movie more talks about the Elon Musk effect
yeah,
of, a guy trying to play God. I
yeah.
keep saying
And,
Elon
and
Musk,
and Ghost in the Shell
but
is more about a society that is like playing God, like every person.
yeah,
So yeah.
and like yeah,
But yeah, are we ready to move on to ratings? Sorry, there's not too much to talk about
yeah,
with this movie. I guess it's actually a good thing because we talked about Barry Lyndon for like an hour. So
yeah,
yeah, are we ready to move on to ratings?
um,
I'll let you shoot your rating first.
yeah. I thought it was. I thought it was a solid 8,
Okay, all right. I'm going with a solid
and
7 out of 10. It could be an
yeah.
8 on rewatch, but I think it's a solid 7.
But that's an 8. An 8 is also me being very like I don't know,
I
forgiving,
mean,
like a
the,
forgiving
the
8.
first time I watched this movie, I did give it an 8, but I rewatched like on this is my second time watching the movie, and on rewatch, I was
Uh-huh.
like, I think it's probably closer to a 7. I have more problems with it now. I also liked Alex
Yeah.
Garland's other movies a lot more. I like 28 Days Later and Civil War and
And
Men and
Men.
Annihilation like a lot more than
Well,
this.
Men is the well. Oh yeah, Men and Annihilation are the only two
Yeah, that you've seen.
I've
You haven't
seen
seen
from
Civil
him.
War.
So
And I think he only
I have
wrote
not seen Civil
he
War.
wrote 28 Days Later. He didn't write that one, or he didn't direct it. And he wrote Sunshine, which
Mm.
I haven't seen yet. So
Yes, I have Sunshine on my watch list.
I have it as
I
well.
still have not seen it,
Yeah.
but I thought it was a pretty good movie.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's
I
fair enough.
there's more to take away from other robot
Yeah,
movies,
like iRobot.
but it's
Segway.
still like iRobot. Yup.
Take the segue.
All right, iRobot.
iRobot.
iRobot is the best movie I've ever watched in my whole entire life. Actually, yeah, it is.
Is that why it took you 8 times to watch it? Eight
Yes.
times to sit down and watch it. You had to digest all of it.
Okay, so to let y'all in on a little something, I watched this last night until like 4 in the morning. So it's and I don't remember anything from it.
Yeah. Well, I watched this movie like 3 hours ago and I done forgot all of it. So Will Smith, he what he do? He's a detective and
Yeah.
he
And he bought himself some new Converse. Bow, 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 bow,
and he drives himself an Audi car.
Feeling superstition. Bow, 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 bow.
It doesn't feel like the future. I want to talk about that first. I don't even want to really talk about the plot of this movie because I don't even know what the plot is. It's so dumb. But
What was it?
so there's a guy that commits suicide, and Will Smith has to go figure out why. And then he thinks it's a robot, and then it figures out that there's like some conspiracy to like put these new robots out that are going to kill everybody and cause a robot revolution. And then it turns out that the bad guy you thought was the bad guy was not the bad guy, and it was an AI instead the whole time. And then they have to. Will Smith meets this therapist lady that's been there the whole movie, and they do interrogations on robots and stuff throughout the movie. And then they got to.
Was she a therapist, or was she just like a guy that worked at the Apple Center?
I think it's implied she was a therapist beforehand. Maybe Will Smith just said you're like my therapist or whatever, but she worked there, and she was more logical than Will Smith was, because he's kind of a moron for most of the movie. Like, you're not recording any of this. You're not taking any evidence. Like, the funniest part of this movie is there's a scene where Will Smith is like, he's like, hey, can I have access to these 50 files between the head of the current head of the company and the guy that made the androids that killed himself? And then during this transition, 2 trucks full of robots stop him on the road, and they're like dodging at him and like blowing up the entire road the entire time.
Oh yeah.
Also, wouldn't there have been like skid marks all over the road, and wouldn't there have been tons of debris? Like, I understand they cleaned it up, but wouldn't there be like burn marks and everything? Like, how did they clean that entire thing up in like 5 minutes?
It's the future, baby.
Sure. But anyway, Will Smith.
It's the future,
Will
baby.
Smith has no evidence that any of this happens. He never takes a picture of anything because they hack into everything the whole movie. Where it's like I think the worst scene in the movie is there's a scene where he goes into a house to investigate, and then this like thing that destroys houses, this demolition machine just boots up and it switches to 8 p.m. instead of 8 a.m. So it starts blowing up the house then. And it's such shaky cam garbage. It looks terrible.
He's like, oh yeah.
Like the acting.
He's like falling through the place, and I forgot.
It's one of those things where I think
really he's so dumb the whole movie, but his biggest like gotcha moment is that the robots are evil, and for some reason like everybody is like, it's like having an iPhone for some reason. Like everybody wants like their own little like robot. And it's like
they said there's one robot for every 5 people in the world, and I'm like, that's crazy. Like
that is crazy. Like get that out of here. Yeah. We beaten robots up in the streets.
Well,
okay?
They tried that.
Me and my homeboy. What was it? There was like a big turning point in the movie where like he has like a mom who's like really old.
Yeah, grandma.
And he visits her every now and then, and she gets
a robot from the lottery that she mentions once. She mentions early in the film. Yeah, they're having a lottery, and if you win, you get a robot. And Will Smith's like, "Don't do that." And then like halfway through the movie, he goes to her house, and she's like, "I won the lottery." Like it's just such a weird callback,
and it's like we've been cooking all day, and it like looks over at the robot,
that's what it is, because he goes
like
there
he's chopping really aggressively, and it's like, whoa dude, chill.
He goes there to get pie, and like 2 times in the movie, and then whenever he comes back the 3rd time, he's like, oh yeah, this pie is great, and then she's like, all right, you can come in now. And then the robot shows up, and he's like, oh, robot made this.
A fucking robot made this pie. I think one of the funniest things was like at the beginning of all I can remember is like the beginning of the movie
when Shia LaBeouf shows
like,
up.
Everything else. Yes, why is Shia LaBeouf in the movie?
He's in it for 2 scenes.
It was actually such a jump scare. Like I think he's supposed to be like the street character, because like Will Smith pulls up to him and he's like,
Spoony.
Shia LaBeouf is like, hey, can I have this much money for the bus? Or like, hey man, you used to be on the street like me. And it's like, bro, you were Shia LaBeouf. You were not like the street smart kid, okay? Like I don't care what the movie's trying to tell me.
He's supposed to be fighting Megatron.
Exactly. He's supposed to be in that one Indiana Jones movie and call Indiana Jones dad.
Oh,
and like,
yeah. We don't talk about that one.
Yeah. But what was it? There was one scene the first big like robot like freak out moment where the robot is stealing a purse.
Oh yeah.
He was getting pie from his mom, and
hold this.
He's like,
eat it or wear
hold
it.
This, and the guy looks confused. Yeah, eat it or wear it. And he like just runs. And then it just. I haven't seen many Will Smith movies, but I'd like to imagine that they're all like this.
They are.
Like,
from what I remember,
something happens, and well, I think the only other one that I've watched, which is I didn't know that iRobot was a book movie.
Yes. Well, we'll get into that.
Sorta, kinda.
Yeah.
I watched I Am Legend, and I had the same like effect.
Yeah. I Am Legend is probably one of the best movies he's been in, and I Am Legend is all right. Like, it's not
that's
phenomenal.
Really sad.
Yeah.
It's such a good. I think it's such a good book too.
I guess.
And they just
to be fair for Will Smith's career, I haven't seen all his Oscar bait movies like Collateral Beauty and like what's the one where he plays Serena Williams' dad, King Richard, where he assaulted a man on stage. I don't know. Maybe those movies are great. But
yeah,
I really don't care enough to watch those.
Yeah, me neither.
I want to watch iRobot instead, and iRobot sucked. So.
It was just so funny. It's just like, it's like if Detroit Become Human was just like stripped away of like any like.
I can't believe I'm saying this. It's like Detroit Become Human
any bit of
if it was bad. Like,
I
already don't like that game.
If it was bad, it's like you take away all of the personality from all the robots, which I guess I get, because like what the movie's going for is like a. Oh my gosh, robot person, they're running at people, they're like flinging people all over the place, and they're jumping people and they're blowing up shit, and it's like, and like I guess like putting a face on that doesn't look CGI and weird and
we haven't even talked about
just
that yet.
Nasty.
The effects in this movie look
like,
terrible.
Yeah.
The movie looks awful. Like the whole thing looks like it was shot on a green screen, like The Amazing Bulk. Like it looks terrible.
Amazing Bulk.
It looks like Incredible Bulk. It looks awful.
I don't know. It's like I've been watching a lot of sci-fi robot movies,
Yeah.
and one of the coolest things that like you can do in like a robot world that's super divisive is make that parallel between humans. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what is the difference? What's going on here?
Yeah.
And in iRobot, it doesn't take like a step back, but it takes like 5 yards back,
Uh-huh.
and it's like the robots, they're just evil. And why? I don't
Because the
know.
movie's got to happen so that Will Smith can turn into Max Payne and he can have bullet time
Yeah.
slow mo and shoot at things in midair.
Yeah. It's pretty great. It's the best movie I've ever watched.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
But I'm trying to remember.
What even?
I'm trying because seriously, everything that happens in this movie, I forget already.
I
Because
agree.
it's really just like scenes of people talking, and then something happening, and then talking, and then something happening, and it's supposed to be that like instant gratification of like, oh, they talked about this a scene ago, but it's
Yeah.
like I'm not 12. And I was seriously watching it, and I was like, I'd like this movie more if I had like a car ad between it, like just randomly.
Dude, well,
then,
I
like-
got good news for you because I watched this on Tubi and I got ads, and it
I feel like
enhanced my
watching it.
it enhanced my experience because this feels like a cable movie. This feels like, oh, it's on
Yeah.
whatever, it's on whatever tonight. Yeah, sure, I'll turn this on. This is the perfect cable movie. You can turn it on at
It
any
is.
scene and figure out what's going on. You go, oh, Will Smith detective, he hate the robot, he wanted the robot evil, and no one believe him. Okay, I get it.
Oh, the interrogation scene is so funny to me.
Oh, it is
Because I think that's
Can you?
that's the part of the movie where they try to like, it's their attempted like, oh, gotcha moment. This is a good movie,
and it's a
but
really
it's
dumb
like,
gotcha moment.
but it's really stupid. Like it's the one scene where Will Smith like acts his ass off,
And it's terrible. It's awful.
and it's really bad.
Yeah.
It's just like him being like, so why are you human? He's like, I have dreams. And he's like, robots don't have dreams,
and then
man!
Will Smith yell at him, and he's
Oh!
like, "Yeah, you know anger. Yeah. You've been angry before." Yeah, but I think that I just want to mention this real quick. It's the dumbest thing ever because he mentions that robot is like, "Yeah, well, can you make a painting or write a song?" And Will Smith is like, "Oh man," and I'm like, "No. Like, you can program an AI to do that thing. What's
Make a
important
beautiful
is
symphony.
yeah. What's important is the human element. Like, you couldn't have a robot go, okay, make a movie like End of Evangelion. Like, you couldn't have them do that. It's such a human experience, and it comes from such personal areas that an AI couldn't replicate. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And the
Yeah.
movie just doesn't mention that at all. That's just the gotcha where it says, yeah, see, they're like humans. Okay, bye.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
There's just not there yeah. It really is just like an action like Will Smith movie.
Oh, and it's also
with,
really
like,
weird
no
because don't they
substance.
mention where it's like, Will Smith, we know you're angry because your dad got his job taken by a robot, but like that's never mentioned again, and it doesn't seem like society is like collapsing. Like, you would think you would see like a lot of homeless people and all this stuff, but it looks like everyone's just like living a day-to-day life, and the robots just happen to be there. Like, you don't really feel the impact of them, like, in this world.
Yeah. Cuz it's not it's like
Because it's slop, it's trash.
cuz it's the first time like that a robot has ever misbehaved, and it's like beforehand like everyone was just so chill with it. Nobody had any problems, and like the world is just so shallow cuz it's just like
Yeah. Cut to that bit
Oh,
from
this is
Ghost in the
just
Shell
happening.
2. Cut to the bit from the Ghost in the Shell 2 where they're burning all the android bodies.
Yep.
Again. Yeah.
It's there
Night
there's
and
just
day.
there's always something you can do to make like your movie at least like maybe like a little bit deeper than skin deep.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like just like I don't know, just say something. Like I guess like I've watched like a bunch of really good like sci-fi movies recently, like the Ghost in the Shell movies. I guess I'll list Ex Machina as a
Machina is
good one
good.
because at
Yeah.
least like you know it's not as deep as like Ghost in the Shell, but it's like
hard to be.
you know it still has something to say.
You've watched Blade Runner before. You've watched 2049. Those are
yeah.
really good movies about AI and androids and things
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
But and so this one like there's no stakes.
Mm-hmm.
Really like after Will Smith like gets hit by the big like city wiper
Yeah, the
machine thing.
demolition machine.
He's just more mad than anything, and for some reason, everyone around. You know what? The movie has like that. It has that Lorax effect. You get what I'm saying? Where it's like the O'Hare guy is like obviously evil and
Yeah.
everything he's doing is evil, but everyone is just like completely just like living on their own,
Uh-huh.
not really giving a shit.
Uh-huh.
So it's like he like the one chick that's always with him for the whole movie like shows up and he's like, "What's wrong with you? You look so beaten up." And he's like, "Well, I got jumped by a bunch of robots and they tried to kill me."
No, he
And they're
says
like,
I
"You are way too
he
you are
says
way too obsessed with these robots."
no, you missed a line. He says, "You like cats?" And then she goes, "A cat did this to you?" And he goes, "No, I just got a cat in my trunk." And then proceeds to.
I
I forgot how
forget.
that line of dialogue is. That cat.
Oh.
Oh no, that cat goes to his grandma's house, I think, or his mom's house, or
I
whatever.
for yeah, I
But
forget
yeah.
that like after that whole scene he like picks up a cat and like runs from
Oh,
debris
it's
and
not
stuff.
after
Like,
that
oh my.
scene. It's during I remember I
Yeah.
laughed out loud because there's a bit where like the cat runs off in a different direction, and
Uh,
and I'm like, okay, that's gonna be the end of the cat. He saved the cat in this like in the initial it destroys half like a quarter of the house or whatever, and the cat runs up the stairs and you're like, okay, it's gonna leave somehow, whatever. But halfway through the scene, it literally just falls from the ceiling onto Will Smith again, and I'm like, what? Why is this back
uh,
here?
when I think about it, like just like we can use this whole movie like that cat
Yeah.
like as like like an analogy for the whole movie. Like it's just
Uh
there.
huh.
There's like no divisiveness, but
But
like
people love it.
besides like Will Smith saving a cat, and like maybe if you're like 70 years old and you see a cat with a bunch of like a freaking like whole apartment complex folding down, you'd be like, "No, Will Smith saved the cat!"
Yeah.
And then but like because when I think about it, the movies I've been watching that I think are far better, they all use animals in it. Ghost in the
Yeah.
Shell 2 uses animals in
A
it.
lot. Yeah.
Something I realized after watching Children of Men as well,
Uh huh.
there are so many animals in that movie.
Yeah.
Like a bunch.
Uh huh.
And they're able to communicate what's happening better than like a song or somebody like, just like watching the movie. It's
Yeah.
like animals are able to be in distress. They're able to like voice their concerns without like, like a human, how a human would like call
I
out.
get it.
So
Yeah.
there's always scenes where like dogs are barking, like making things more tense. Like
Yeah.
um, in the Will Smith movie, the cat is just randomly placed as an object
To make the viewer
for
go,
Will Smith to save.
oh no, you have to
yeah,
do that because it's a movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. What else to even talk about? Oh yeah, I want to talk about this. So the villain's motivation of the AI is so stupid and doesn't make any sense.
I already forgot this.
Okay.
So you can go ahead.
So the villain, so there's the 3 laws. You can't hurt nobody. You what's the second one? What's the second rule of robotics? I'm a fake nerd. I don't know it.
I don't know either.
I can't remember.
Is it like always obey like a human's command?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the third one is, stay, self-preserve, keep yourself safe as long as it follows the other 2.
Yeah, like
And
putting
like
a robot in
protect humans,
like
yeah.
a
So
putting a robot in a situation where it has to make a decision is probably the worst decision you can put it
yeah.
in.
So basically this AI goes, well, people are evil and they are blowing up the planet, so I'm going to have to kill some people so the robots can run it better. And I'm just thinking, wouldn't that like counteract the laws? Like, I understand what they're trying to do with like, yeah, it's not right, but like, look, it's, for this AI, it seems like it's the greater good, but an AI doesn't think critically, it goes logically. So wouldn't it just error out? Wouldn't it just say, oh, wouldn't it come to the conclusion of, to really help humanity in a big way, we would have to kill and like cull some of these people, and then it would go, well, I can't do that because of one, and then it would be stuck in like
Because
a
of this
paradox.
rule.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it doesn't make sense.
No.
What?
Well, no, Jackson. The robot.
That's right. Will
when the
Smith
robot
has to.
says
Will
no.
Smith has to Max Payne backflip across this thing so that he can pause in midair and shoot 3 robots. And there's 8 things of slow mo. And also, okay, Will Smith
Yep.
mentions he's scared of heights, and then like the next scene, he's like Call of Duty, like dolphin diving all over these like
The building.
all over this building, and I'm like, dude, like you're literally like inches away from falling to death, and you seem to not care at all.
Well, he hates robots.
Yeah, he
Ah!
hates robots more than he's scared of heights, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, whatever. Movie sucks.
It's deep.
I'm giving
Well,
this one.
okay, I'm trying. The
Oh,
one thing, listen, Jackson. The one
okay,
thing that I remember
okay.
is that there was like imagery of like a savior, like a robot savior.
Yes.
Isn't that how the movie ends?
Yes.
Where it's like the
Yes.
one robot and then there's a bunch of them.
It's sunny. Yeah.
So, how? What? Oh, I hate saying it. I hate saying it. But what does it mean? What does it mean?
The robots are
Like-
gonna be better now. They're not gonna be evil again. They've got like a robot messiah. He's gonna be like Moses. He's gonna lead them out. I
He's
assume.
gonna lead them into being chill.
Yeah.
You know,
They're gonna go
play
somewhere.
Some, play
they're
some
gonna
NBA 2K.
they're gonna go somewhere, and they're not gonna be around humans. They're gonna do their own thing or whatever. But yeah.
Yeah, they're just gonna chill. I guess. I don't know.
All right. I guess before we give ratings, I want to talk about this. So you mentioned that this movie is based off a book, and I have not read the book, but I have done a little bit of research before the episode, and
Okay.
I have read Isaac Asimov's other book, the Foundation trilogy. I've read those 3. Those are great books, by the way. Read those. But if you like science fiction stuff, they're pretty cool. But the original iRobot is about more so human prejudice towards robots, and these robots don't really do anything. Like, there's no revolution. It's a series of short stories, and it's like, okay, here's a short story where this robot is stranded on the moon, and it has 2 conflicting programs that are trying to run, and it's kind of getting confused on what to do, and it's kind of about how the way humans react around that. Here's one where they had 4 AI that were running the stock market, but then eventually they kind of evolved and just started running the whole planet, but everything's so good that people really don't care. Like, there's been prosperity and world peace. Like, and it's about, like, this scientist lady that's like, I don't know about that. She's, like, doing research into it, and I'm like, wow, this is a really interesting idea for a book, just seeing how the society progresses with robots without them, like, revolting or whatever. And then the movie just turns it into, well, Will Smith has to have something to shoot, so they're all evil now.
The robots are evil, and they want Will Smith dead.
So yeah,
they want to kill his mom too.
Isaac Asimov spinning in his grave, enough to create a new energy source, probably. So, yeah, are we ready to move on to ratings and give recommendations for the next episode? We're at about an hour, 40 minutes or so. Okay.
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, so iRobot, I'm thinking 3 out of 10. 3 out of 10. Actually, I don't even know. Is there even enough that's worth giving it an extra point, or should I just give it 2?
Yeah, I was about to say I'm gonna give it a 2.
I think I'm gonna give it a 2 as well. I can't think of anything right now that I'm like that raises it up to a 3. Like that, I would never watch this again. I will never watch this again.
Yeah, there's not really a circumstance that I'd like want to turn this on again. I was like, when I was watching it though, I did think about like
better
how
movies.
people viewed it at the time.
Oh yeah, I thought about that too.
Because I had an older brother, like, and he's not like, when we would talk about movies and stuff, he was a lot less critical. It was more like of whatever was in the theater and he thought was cool at the time. But he would like, I distinctly remember him telling me about this movie and him saying that it was so like
awesome.
It was so badass and cool. And so watching it again, I was just thinking of him, and I was like, well, at least he thought it was cool.
Yeah. That's
at the very least.
It's a good. Well, I don't want to say good. It's a crowd pleaser movie. You can turn your brain off and you can go, yeah, Will Smith shot some guys, and there was kind of a detective thing. Whatever, who cares?
Yeah, it was like anytime I would start to get start to crash out watching the movie,
which happened multiple times for me.
I just think of my brother, and I'd be like, okay, well, he watched this so I could watch it too somehow.
Yeah.
And I made it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess do we want to move on to recommendations?
Is it my turn to give recommendations?
Well, I mean, we do recommendations every episode, but I'm recommending.
Well, I mean, like my turn to start. Like what turn order are we on?
Actually, I don't know. I think it is your turn to start.
Okay. I recommend Birdman or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance.
All right. I haven't seen this in a
Alejandro
while.
Gonzalez. Can't say his last name. I don't want to mess it up.
Mm.
I watched it like a couple days ago actually,
Yeah.
and I liked it so much. And I want to watch it again like really really bad and like actually have like a conversation about it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I recommended it.
Okay.
But I'm really anticipating like another time to like get to talk about it because it's so interesting. It's so cool.
All right. And so I'm gonna recommend two movies. Both of them.
I'm excited.
Both of them directed by Mamoru Oshii. I'm gonna recommend Patlabor 1 and 2. I'm recommending Patlabor 1 and 2 finally.
Okay.
Because you have watched Ghost in the Shell 2 about 3 times this month, and I want to show you my favorite Oshii movie now. So,
okay.
I want to see your opinions on Patlabor 2 mainly, but we will discuss Patlabor 1 as well. So, yeah.
Okay.
And
I'm very excited for those.
Before the episode ends, I have a super secret special 4th recommendation that I don't think anyone in the audience, I wouldn't recommend for the audience to go see, but I'm just gonna DM you the poster, and then we'll tell everybody what we're going to watch. So.
Oh my god! No.
We'll tell the people. Tell the viewers at home.
We're gonna go watch Red 1.
That's right, Red
featuring
1.
Dwayne Johnson, Chris Evans, Chrissy Liu, and J.K. Simmons. Oh my gosh!
Directed by Jake Kasdan, director of Jumanji: The Next Level and Sex Tape.
Yes!
So get ready, get hype, y'all.
Yes.
Christmas
is back.
Christmas is back. So yeah, that's the secret.
How did they get J.K. Simmons?
Dude, I'm telling you, dude. He must have hit a family of 4 in like in one of his cars or something, and they were like,
got him, bro.
How did like? Okay,
they had to blackmail
him. They're like, we've got footage of you doing it, man. You gotta be Santa Claus in Red 1, but not regular Santa Claus. He's got to be jacked and awesome.
He's the jacked and awesome Santa Claus from Red 1.
This movie's gonna be freaking epic, dude. Okay, so that's why we recommended 3 shorter movies so that we can watch this piece of crap. So yeah, next episode will be interesting. Lots to talk about, lots to discuss.
Yeah, probably longer.
I don't know, man. Actually, yeah, probably longer. I could just recommend Patlabor 2 and the episode would probably be over an hour. So it probably will be a bit longer.
Well,
yeah.
I'm anticipating it. I'm excited to watch these movies.
I can't wait. So, I guess.
Yep.
Thank you all for joining, and that'll be all for this week. Bye-bye!
All right. Bye!